Welcome to the bold analysis. There is a recent Twitter survey, a survey that was done on Twitter about William Ruto's popularity, or rather Kenya Kwanza popularity in Mount Kenya in the wake of the protests that have been going on there. And we need to put it that unlike other areas like Kisumu, Vihiga, Homa Bay, and even Nairobi here, where the protests have been maybe triggered by Azimio la Umoja call for the mass action. In Mount Kenya, only I think I saw Murang'a, Nyandarua, and Laikipia, areas where there was some mini protests that are in conformity with what the Azimio la Umoja call. In Mount Kenya, it has been different on specific issues. Where in Kirinyaga, there was a protest about the state of the market. There was also another protest in Embu about market. In Kiambu here, there is a tussle between government and the locals about construction of a dam that is close to one that was built by former President Uhuru Kenyatta. There have also been protests on the Mau Summit Road. Yes, and amongst others is also on water. I think water, the other one for water was here in Kiambu. And the cost of living question also has emerged. So in Mount Kenya, it has been taking different shapes and or rather different reasons why people have been protesting. And according to that Twitter poll, the number went down. And there is a bit of that understanding that the popularity is going down. So in this video, I can always, yesterday when I analyzed that the mountain can shock everyone, I realized that there was a lot of interest by our viewers who are asking, you need to relook at this, specifically on this, because how Mount Kenya voted for Uhuru Kenyatta thrice, and within 4 years, they all turned, quite a number of people turned against him, is a mirage that only needs to be understood from different economists, political economists. Now, that said and done, I know very well that, yes, President Uhuru Kenyatta still have a chunk of support there, but again, it seems to have been eclipsed by that support has actually been outdone by William Samoei Ruto. So, where Mount Kenya revolt has reduced popularity, and in this video, I want to tell you the 4 issues that, according to me, is actually complicating the Mount Kenya story. Remember, I can tell you that after Kenya Kwanza came to power, the next thing that the Rigathi Gachagwas were after is how they are going to be the kingpin. He's going to be the kingpin, or rather lead the mountain from Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And that transition is on the way. There is something that is going wrong. And what went wrong in the mountain, I want to tell you. Number one, before you look at that, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. Thank you very much for those who are supporting us and supporting this channel in different forms. Now, do you remember the story of Milkman coffee and tea reforms? Do you remember that story? The story of coffee and the milkman and the milk story was sensationalized, rushed, and politicized and paraded before the voters. And if indeed, and if he is not going to succeed, if he fails to succeed to address the issue of the milk, I can tell you, milk, coffee, and tea, I can tell you that that is going to be a point of departure. In fact, if Rigathi wanted to just get done with Uhuru Kenyatta, then you need to make very unpopular decisions. Now, if you're daring enough, kick out the milkman. Just leave alone the talks. End of it. There is a lot of talking on the coffee and tea reforms. We are almost getting to the end of March. Let's not forget, immediately the January cabinet retreat in Nanyuki is the retreat where William Ruto handed over the tea, coffee, and the milk reforms to Rigathi Gachagua. And Rigathi said that in the next 2 or 3 months, by the time tunafika April, hiyo kitu tutakuwa tumeshamaliza, tumetoa hawa. And early February were those meetings. I am persuaded that those efforts have hit a snag. They've reached a dead end, and the points of no movement. What the farmers were told is a situation where they will sell milk at 70 bob per liter and go and buy it in the shelf at 40 bob. You know, that those who are taking. I know there is exploitation. Of course, we understand in business that is a practice all over. I know there is that bit of that exploitation. But parading it as a man who was coming on the overnight solution sensationalized the matter, aroused the emotions of farmers in the mountain, and people saw him as, now this is the man. But as things go, there are no signs of it coming to fruition. In fact, the trajectory has changed. People are talking about politics of how they're going to merge political parties to form one big party for 2027. So, truth be told, as it is, as we speak now, what Kenya Kwanza are actually trying to do is to how to force parties, the small kiosk parties within the coalition, to fold and form one party known as the UDA. So one thing that has actually killed the UDA euphoria and the Rigathi Gachagua's take at the top of the mountain is overhyping the Milkman and the coffee and the tea reforms without tangible solutions. I look at that. The other thing I can say is, remember this Hustler Fund? When Hustler Fund was introduced, let me tell you what it was targeting. During the economic forums in different counties, and I want to believe those forums were actually scripted, women groups used to come, and women used to come and say that in the market, they're being exploited by Shylocks who are charging exorbitant rates from the loans they're giving. So to cure that and to address the issue of business, now that is what was to address Mama Mboga, Mtu wa Boda Boda and all that, the Hustler Fund was introduced. Sorry to say, but that is one of the greatest disappointments to that group. I don't think it has achieved its dream as we speak to address the Mama Mboga, Boda Boda and the hustler question. People who used to go to take Shiloh, hata kama wanachukua like 5,000 in the morning and return with that in the evening, do you want to tell me that these people will have to leave that and go for 500 Hustler Fund for the start and wait for time, they could not know when, as rates start to increase? The limit is increasing, but it cannot come from 5,000 to 10,000 or even 5,000 within a month. It's taking time. And when the limit is being increased, the increase in limit is launched, as if it's under the discretion of the president. So, the other great disappointment is that Hustler Fund. Na ile spirit ya tumechezwa, tumedanganywa, tumechezewa, it's coming up. I listened to the protest in Kirinyaga. They were talking about the fact that hiyo kitu mlituambia itakuja kitu itusaidie, hiyo kitu haiko. And it was targeting that region. The hustler agenda was targeting that place. Biashara ni biashara, kazi ni kazi, and all those stories was targeting that place. And then that seems to have failed. The other two I want to look at is, I've been seeing Rigathi Gachagua and Kenya Kwanza trying to parade leaders that have been appointed in government, the shareholders from the region, When they go to Meru, they point so and so has been appointed in government in this position. When they go to Tarakaniti, when they go to Laikipia, when they go to Muranga, I think Kiambu has not yet, and Nyeri has not yet. So when that is done, the regional appointments, the appointments on the tribal appointments on those in those regions is used to hoodwink the population. But remember, we campaigned on the platform of kazi ni kazi, and that it doesn't. We are not going after positions. We are going after development of the people. So I want to say that even if you appoint a PS, you appoint a CS, you appoint someone from parastatal, that does not translate development, because directly it does not translate, because I don't think a CS will have a veto power decision on what is to be done there. In terms of the budget making process, the executive is involved, the budget office in the National Assembly is involved, and even the national agenda on mainstreaming of development is involved. And then the politics of optics, the politics of we are trying to do that and that. So the reason why I'm also seeing that the other thing detonating the Mount Kenya hype is the appointments in the guise of we are in government. Not all. Even in that mountain, people are also struggling. You can get to the village of a PS na unapata huko hata kuna manchi. Yes. How many leaders are in government in Kirinyaga, in Laikipia? I was saying Laikipia when the Waziri was giving orders for people to vacate their spaces, and people are asking, where are we going? They have been our home. So you look at how things are done. The other thing is the Business Interest Protection Unit. This has failed terribly. Take an example of the China Square. The China Square story became political tool for people to come out and protect that, we are protecting our businesses. We are protecting the business of our people in Nyamakima, the Kikuyus in Nyamakima. Before you know, the China Square guy is going on with his business and things have to move on. So that Business Protection Unit, the activism, I think Ruto has not given them that exclusive favors on projecting themselves as the protectors of business interest, including this one that was at the center of a scuffle between Rigathi and Sakaja. So it's interesting development moving forward here. And that is why I feel the mountain revolt has reduced Ruto's popularity. And it might become very complicated. And I wish the Azimio would play their card very smart so that they don't antagonize the voters in that place, especially as far as the mass action, because I'm seeing a bit of a conversation going on that Raila wants to destroy Kikuyu's businesses in Nairobi. And, Ichunga is telling us that kwani Kikuyus are the ones doing business in Nairobi? Kwani watu wengine wafanye biashara? Nikwambia Mount Kenya Business Protection Unit, because we want to speak to the people. We need to be very honest. Yes, kila mtu anafanya biashara. If it is people's businesses, it's not only Kikuyus businesses. Si hata watu wengine wanafanya. Not all those Kikuyus support William Ruto. Kila mtu ana struggle. That's my take.